All right, let's talk about it. We have a special guest that's going to be joining us at the top of the hour in about 10 minutes or so. But Alan and I are here to give you our review of Gran Turismo. I saw it and enjoyed it. I saw it again last night in IMAX. It's even better in IMAX. See this movie in premium format, in particular IMAX. It was shot for IMAX. It looks incredible. The sound shook the theater, and I gave you my previous review for it. It's among the top sports movies I think I've ever seen. May in fact be one of the best, probably if not the best racing film. Neil Blomkamp knocked it out of the park. It is based on a true story. We know that, there was a little bit of, it's not 100% everything that happened. We'll get to that when our special guest joins us. But Alan, I really love this film. What did you think of Gran Turismo?
I really loved it too. I don't know that I would say it was my favorite sports movie or my favorite race movie. I think Ford versus Ferrari still is better than this, but it's very good. We mentioned it last time when we talked about it, but the trailer does zero justice to this movie. The trailer just makes it look like, hey, these kids, they won a video game competition, and now they get to race actual race cars, which is a stupid thing to do. But this one is just what I like about this movie is it captures that's it's that underdog story. It's you got the kid there who wants to do this for a living, and his way in was through the video game, and he has to constantly be fighting his way to the top. He has to fight his father to let him follow this foolish dream. He has to fight his co-competitors who want the job that he wants so badly, and then he has to fight to find credibility within the racing industry. And that's what this movie is all about, is not laying back and getting angry and mad that the world is unfair to you, but it's taking life by its throat and fighting your way to the top. And I think that's why this movie is inspiring and why it works. And plus has a lot of great racing scenes. There's an event that happens to the character prior to the third act that is just devastating. And it's kind of like, it's hard to believe this is real, but it is real. And I will disagree. I'll say watch it in Dolby theaters. The sound there is even better, and you're in recliners as well. So I would definitely see it there. But I love this movie, and it's just, I just can't get over the fact that the trailer just made this movie look so bad.
It might be one of the worst trailers for a really good movie that I've seen in quite some time. Usually it's the opposite. It's like the trailer's always good, and then you see the movie and it's just okay.
I mean, because the problem is it sets it up as if it was the last Starfighter. And I think that just turns people off in the sense of it just makes the movie feel unbelievable. And that it's just gonna be this wacky video game movie when it's far from it.
Yeah, so I'll just say this: seeing it a second time, I enjoyed it even more. I was surprised that it actually got emotional. You really feel the stakes that are involved. It's one of those sports movies where, yes, the lead character is fighting to win, but also the fight is even bigger than that. It's a fight for respect, and it's a fight for also acceptance and from his father, who's just like, who his father, took a risk and was in a football team, which is, soccer to Americans. But it just, I love the father-son stuff. It actually stood out. It stood out because you don't see a lot of good father-son stuff in films these days. And that really, really impressed me.
Yeah. It's similar to The Hill. But the other thing is there's the David Harbour character, where it's that one person in your life who actually does believe in you. And
Right.
and the fact that he didn't even believe in this project in the first place, but to come around and say, you know, you've got talent, you've got skills, and I see myself in you. That's, you know, that's just, this is just what builds a great sports movie.
Yeah,
And
all
it's
of
all
that.
there.
It's like this big wind up, and you're like, and it's, you see the stakes, you see all the characters. They did such, and David Harbour's performance cannot be underestimated in this film. It really needs to be noted how much he was like this, the backbone to this thing, and this kid who's just like, you're a sim racer. No one's going to take this seriously. But, you know, these sim racers, as I've come to learn, the ones that are at the top of their game, they know these vehicles inside and out. There's this minor conflict where he says, like, you know, what did he say? The brakes are glazed. The brakes are glazed.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, they're not. You don't know what you're talking about. They're not glazed. And then it's like one of the mechanics is like, oh, yeah, they're glazed. It's like, how did you know that? It's like, I know these vehicles inside and out. So it really, and the thing is, the whole thing, I don't even like hesitate to call this a video game movie. It's certainly that is the beginnings of it, and it's the first like maybe 30 minutes of the movie deals with the video game to real racer transition. But if you put it in the camp of video game movies, it might be one of the best video game movies ever made. Certainly in the top 5 of best
Yeah.
video game
I
movies
mean,
ever made.
yeah. I mean, the big deal is made that he ultimately uses his, what he's learned in the video game, the
Right.
strategy he learned in the video game, into real racing, and that's a big part of this.